If you are looking to make those wavy guitar beats, this video is going to be the perfect one for you. Today I'm going to break down how you can make those wavy and fire sounding guitar beats for somebody like Gunna, all from scratch in FL Studio, and I'm going to break down everything in a step-by-step process. So let's not waste any more time, let's just jump right in. Alright, so we're now here in FL Studio 21 as you guys can see, and obviously when we are making a wavy guitar beat, we want to pick a super fire sounding guitar VST. Now in this case I have my favorite guitar VST opened up, which is this nylon sky guitar in Omnisphere. Like I said, this is my favorite guitar, so I highly recommend going for this one, since it has a super clean and realistic sounding sound, as well as you really get that wavy type of sound if you're going for a nylon one. Obviously you can go with whatever one you want. You have the FMOF one, you have the vinyl guitar one, which is free, but personally I like this one, so let's just rock with this. The BPM is going to be 140, and inside of here I already have the D minor scale loaded up, so we're just going to be using that one. It doesn't really matter, we might change it later on. Alright, so making wavy melodies is actually very simple. You guys don't have to overcomplicate this, so I'm pretty much going to try to break down everything for you. So once we have the piano roll loaded up right here, like I said, we are in the D minor scale, so let's simply start off by making a D minor chord. Just like that. We're going to extend this out a little bit so we have it on the one bar right here. And from here I highly recommend just highlighting all of your notes and just making sure that the velocity is a little bit down over here, because if you have the velocity all the way up here, it's going to sound a little bit harsh. When you're making wavy stuff, it sounds way better if you just have it more smoother and a little bit lower sound on it as well. So with the chord place right here, we want to firstly invert this middle note, so let's just highlight that and pitch it up by 1 octave. This is pretty standard stuff, but from here you can really go all over the place. What I personally like doing is just starting to strum these notes out a little bit, since we want more of that finger pick type of guitar style. So we're just going to move these top 2 notes a little bit to the side right there. So that's kind of going to be our first chord. Like I said, we don't want to overcomplicate it. I'm just going to add a little bit of a detail to this as well, and the thing I'm going to add is just going to be 1 note right here. But very importantly, what I'm going to do with this one, instead of having it hit right here like all of the usual notes, they go all the way to the end of the bar, I'm actually going to cut this a little bit short. And the reason why I'm doing this is because with the nylon sky guitar, like I said, it gives you a realistic sound. So when you cut some of the notes short like this, it's actually also going to give you that string pull off type of sound as well. This really helps making the whole melody way more realistic, and it just adds that character to the whole guitar sound. So just take a little bit of a listen to this. I'm going to play it as extended and unextended like this as well. So you can hear when kind of the notes stop, it has that pull off type of sound. So when we just cut this short, it has it kind of twice. So that's super fire. Now from here we're just going to mess a little bit around with the velocity. So I'm gonna pull this one down a bit while having this one maybe up. We can lower this as well. Now for the second bar, we just kind of want to have this pretty repetitive, so let's copy that over, but instead of just having the same exact notes playing, I'm actually going to invert this up 1 octave yet again, but this time we're just going to leave it as it is right here, and then we can actually add 1 more note. So that 1 more note we're going to add is going to be right here. Now since we already have 2 Ds, I actually think we can just add 1 more C right here, which we can extend out a little bit and also turn the velocity up on, and this time we can just extend this one as well, so we can kind of have it differentiating a little bit from the first part. Yeah, so that sounds pretty clean. Now from here, let's just copy this over, and the simplest trick to really get a cool and wavy sound is just to have the same pattern but pitching it down by 5 semitones. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can kind of just have these 2 copied over for the whole 8 bars. That's pretty much gonna be our wavy melody. Super simple but still super bouncy and realistic. Don't really need to do too much more to this, except from add some effects to the guitar, obviously. Now the crazy thing when you're making wavy melodies is that you can really go crazy with the effects as well. Since we're not really making something sad or emotional, it doesn't have to be super realistic. You can actually go for more of a dreamy and wavy type of vibe when you're going for these type of melodies. So what I'm going to do is really go crazy with the effects. We're going to try to mess a little bit around and experiment a little bit as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a halftime. Now what I'm going to do with this is actually go to half a loop right there. And then if you go all the way to the left on this knob right here, so you have it at 500 milliseconds on the effects channel, it gives you somewhat of a pulsing type of sound, which is super cool as well. And then you can just mess around a little bit with the mix, putting it to maybe something like 80%. So you can already hear we have a cool sound, although the low end is a little bit harsh, so we're just going to EQ that out a little bit right here. Super cool sound from the guitar right now. Let's also add a little bit of reverb. So I'm just gonna open up a roam, turn it down to about 20. And from here we can also just open a portal. Since, like I said, you don't have to have it super realistic, I'm just gonna use the Blaze preset. This is crazy already. Just take a listen to how cool that guitar sounds right now. So like I said, when you are going for a wavy type of melody, make sure to really experiment with the different effects. Like I said, I've opened a portal. I have this portal bank from my Mirage multi-kit, so I highly recommend you guys check that out. It has 50 different presets which work perfectly on any type of instrument. I really love using this Blaze preset on guitars, as it kind of adds a little bit of texture to the whole thing, especially for this wavy melody. Like I said, it doesn't have to be realistic, so this is a perfect preset. Last thing I'm going to do is open up RC20, and I'm just going to be using this Final 3 preset to add a little bit of that vinyl texture to it. So once we add this, this is how our guitar sounds. I'm just turning down the distortion a bit as well, but this is perfect sounding right here. Alright, so since we are making a wavy melody, it obviously wouldn't be a wavy guitar melody without a flute. So I've just opened up this Jabal flute right here in Contact. This is pretty much an old school, super popular flute. Like I said, it's one of those old school or well-known type of flutes, so a lot of people have already been using this one, but it really hits home every single time. So let's just use this one. Now, when it actually comes to making those wavy flute melodies, I personally just like to type them in with my keyboard. So what I do is that I just go over to this piano note button right here, and I'm just gonna right click that one, put it into the right scale or key that we are working in, and I can literally just like use any notes on my keyboard right there and just play something that sounds a bit catchy. So you can either go with some short tapping notes like this, or you can just go with those long lasting type of notes like this. I think I'm personally going to go with those long ones since I really like the sound out of those. But we're just going to play around and see what we can make. So let's hit the record button and just click notes and automation. Alright, so I kind of like the structure of this. It doesn't have to be perfect when you record it. You can obviously just come in and mess a little bit around with it. That's exactly what I'm gonna do, because I didn't really like this second part right here. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit and see how it sounds once we have everything laid down. Right, so here we have the flute right now with some effects as well. Just see if we can randomize a bit of the velocity. It has an effect. Right, so the effects that I did on the flute was actually first of all just a sound shifter. Since I wanted to pitch the flute up by 1 octave, I just used this plugin right here to pitch it up by 12 semitones, just so it have it up in the higher pitches as well. Then we just have a roam for a lot of reverb, as well as a RC20 using the Magnitude Transition 1 preset. This preset right here really nails down that smooth and ambient type of vibe. And then since we pitched up everything, it kind of had a harsh sound, so I just had to use this EQ, as you guys can see, to really just cut this very high pitching noise right here in the mid section or the 700 Hertz section. So now the flute sounds way smoother. So I believe I'm just gonna start using this more of as something like in the background. We're not really gonna have it as our main type of counter melody, but it's definitely gonna be a bit present. I'm also going to try to add some more atmosphere to this whole thing, since that's really typical in those wavy type of melodies. You kind of want to have that guitar pattern as the leading thing, and then you can just have a lot of ambience in the background. So I'm going to open up this Distant Voices bank in Arcade and just look through a couple of these different presets, maybe download some new ones, and then we can just see if we can add that typical atmospheric layer in the back. Alright, so I found this super cool vocal. Like I said, it just adds that perfect amount of atmosphere in the back. Next thing I'm going to do now is just go over to the Mirage multi-kit and we're going to add even more of that atmosphere or those textures. Like I said, these wavy type of melodies, they really rely on those textures and atmosphere. So I have actually a whole texture kit inside of this kit. Like I said, it's a multi-kit, so you literally have a lot of different kits all in one bundle. But inside of this texture kit, I'm just going to go in and see if I can find something that's going to fit nicely with the guitar. So I'm somewhat looking at some animal noises. I think I'm going to go for this Birds by the Sea texture. Just take a listen to it. Adds a lot of cool atmosphere in the back. So what I'm going to do is just drag this in a playlist. It's going to go right underneath the guitar right there, and this is actually time stretched in 140, so it's gonna fit perfectly. Let's just go in and turn the volume a bit down. That's super cool right there. Just that ear candy in the back is perfect. The next thing we can do now, which really goes super well with these nylon type of guitars, is actually to add some more reverse elements. So my personal favorite way of doing this is actually by using one-shots. So this time I'm going to head over to the Motion Bundle Kit. And since I have a whole one-shot section right here, I'm just going to open that up. And I'm literally going to go to, let's try the bells, and just find a cool sounding bell. Okay, I actually like the first one, so let's just drag this into the channel rack right there and just let's put it to the 5th track. And from here, what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna turn off loop points and I'm gonna hit reverse. I'm literally not going to do anything else besides that. And then I'm literally just going to go over and put it on the root note of our guitar. So since it starts on D right here, so since the root note starts on D, let's just put that there first. And then we pitched it down by 5 semitones. So then it's going to go down to the A4. Copy that over and maybe pitch it up by 1 or 2 octaves. Just kind of want to test it out a little bit. Yeah, so you can hear that reverse sound. It sounds a bit harsh right now. It's because we don't have any effects added to it. So obviously let's head over to the mixer and add first of all a lot of reverb and then an EQ. So I'm gonna add this Rome reverb. Right, so we switched up the sound. I'm also going to add a kickstart too to get that pulse. Just gives you such a cool reverse type of sound in the background. Now, since we actually are already in this one-shot section right here, I think I'm actually just going to try and add a bass to this as well. So with this one, we actually need to turn off loop points and put it to stretch. We kind of have to do some more adjustments with this one-shot, since we actually want to have it play and not just have it as a background element. But again, the premise is pretty much the same. Let's just put this on the root note. Yeah, so we can definitely have this as our bass. This sounds crazy. If we go into the sound shifter and then just pitch the whole melody down by 3, it sounds like this. Alright, last thing I added was just this counter melody, a little bit of a guitar in the back just to kind of complement the main thing. So that's pretty much going to be our melody. Now with the whole melody being done, it's time that we add some drums. As for all the drum sounds I'm using, they're of course coming from both the Mirage Multi-Kit and the Motion Bundle Kit. So if you guys like any of the drum sounds you hear in this video, and you also like the different elements I've already showed in the video from those kits, make sure to check them out. They are on my website, which is BBMarko.com, or you guys can just check out the links down below. These 2 kits are literally everything that I'm using. So if you guys want the same exact sounds, the same portal banks, the melody midis, the different drum kits, everything, you guys can literally just copy paste the same exact thing. Now with that being said, let's just finish off the beat. Right, first things first, we're starting with a clap and an open hat. So I really like this combo of the perfect open hat as well as the angel clap from the Mirage Multi-Kit, since this open hat right here really hits perfectly on the first hit. Just a super smooth sound, so we're just gonna have that, and it layers super nicely with a kick in the 808 as well. And the clap is just super crisp and clean, really perfect for the wavy vibe. Just turn up the velocity a bit. Yeah, that right there is perfect. I have a hi-hat MIDI section in the Motion Bundle Kit you guys can copy as well. It literally has 100 different hi-hat MIDIs, so you can just literally just drag and drop it. I also have a hi-hat MIDI section in the Motion Bundle kit with literally 100 different hi-hat MIDIs, so we can literally just drag and drop. Just take and listen to it while we're switching right here. I'll be honest, I really like this one right here. 95 or 96. Yeah, let's go with 95. That one is hard. So that's pretty much all we have to do for the hi-hats. Don't overcomplicate it, just drag in a simple MIDI. Now from here, let's get a little bit more bouncy with those snares and rims. Yeah, so rims are pretty much essential if you're going for a wavy type of vibe. At least in my opinion. Gonna get a super cool sound out of those rims. Doing a cool little fade right here on the rim. Just a slight bit of... Alright, so with the 808, I actually had to switch the key of the whole melody so it sounded a bit better, but I think it's pretty smooth right now. Combined with the kick right here, listen to this. Yeah, that just adds that extra little bit of bounce. Alright, so now that we have the whole beat finished, I'm just quickly gonna arrange the whole thing and then we'll take a final listen. Alright, so here we have a full beat. A lot of cool elements in this one for sure. And all the risers and everything is also from the kits that I've used. So here it drops in. Flute comes in, a little bit of a different melody. Cool riser right here. With that counter guitar as well. And then we go into the verse. A little bit of a more dry and slow part right here. Bass comes in with rims as well. Then it drops again. Super fire. Right here we have a bit of a bridge coming in. Just added a Fruity Love filter to this. Super underwater type of sound. Fades back into the hook so it drops right here.